Hey guys, it's Ashley, and today I'm going to be talking about the middle grade stories that I want to add to my TBR this year. I know I said this year was going to be a primarily fantasy year, but I did not say what kind of fantasy. And in a recent video, I asked you guys for some recommendations for middle grade stories because I just haven't been reading as many as I used to, and it makes me sad because middle grade stories are always so fun and adventure filled, and I just want more of that in my life. So today I'm going to be sharing with you some titles I want to add to my TBR this year. I might get to them, I might not, but I just had a lot of fun like looking at recent releases for middle grade and like scouring through the internet for different things that sound interesting to me, which I haven't done in a while. So today I'm going to be sharing some of those titles that I want to add to my TBR this year, see if I get to them. Hopefully you may hear about some new books that you didn't know about before, or you might see the book that you recommended me on this list. But before we get into that, I want to talk about today's sponsor. So this video is being sponsored by Disney Book Group because we are celebrating the recently released graphic novel adaptation of Brightly Woven by Alexandra Bracken. This story was adapted by Lee Dragoon and the artwork is by Kit Seaton. So if you didn't know, Brightly Woven was actually Alex Bracken's debut novel, which came out in 2010, and it was actually a young adult novel, but the graphic novel was adapted so that middle grade readers could read it, which is awesome because, like I said, I love adding another middle grade story to my TBR. They just make me so happy all the time, so I'm very excited to have this. And if you also don't know from watching my videos, because I feel like I tend to read a lot of Alex Bracken's books, she's also the author of the Darkest Mind series, the Passenger series, The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding, and most recently Lore, which I really loved. So if you haven't heard of this story, Brightly Woven follows a girl named Sidel who is a talented weaver and just wants an adventure. And that adventure comes in the form of Wayland North, a wizard who comes to her asking for her help because he has a secret that will stop a war and he needs to get to the capital to deliver it. So as they race to the capital, the weather gets crazier and they encounter a dark wizard who is hell-bent on stopping them no matter what it takes. And Sidel realizes that the fate of the world may not rest on Wayland North's shoulders, but rather on hers. This just sounds like such a fun and adventurous upper middle grade fantasy, so I'm really excited to add it to my TBR and to get to it soon, especially because graphic novels take no time at all to get through and they're always such a fun time. So Brightly Woven, the graphic novel, is in stores now, and you can head to the link in the description below to learn more and get your own copy. Also, I know some people really like to see the artwork inside, so here it is. Hopefully you can see it without the glare of the ring light shining at it, but I just think it looks so cute. I'm so excited. Okay, and so now let's get on to some of the other titles. The first but really second book on this list is one that I got so many recommendations to read. Like when I asked you guys for middle grade recs, you really pulled through with this one book, and I've seen this book recommended to me a bunch of times in the past, so I apologize for just not paying attention to it or for not reading it at this point because I've been recommended this so many times. But that story is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger, is that her name? Like I said, so many of you have reached out telling me that I should read this book because I'll really like it. So I'm excited to finally add it to my TBR, finally like solidify, like yes, I want to read this and I will hopefully get to it this year. The story is about a 12-year-old girl named Sophie Foster who is a telepath and she can read minds, and she's like, why am I like this? But then she meets a boy named Fitz who can also do the same thing, and then she realizes there's this whole other world that she needs to go to where she will, I guess, belong, and she has to leave her family behind because they're in danger with her, and all of this stuff that just sounds like a great time, a great adventure middle grade story, and I'm already in, and especially because so many of you love it so much and have recommended it to me so much, so I'll get it, I'll read it, and we'll see what happens. But I'm really excited to finally acknowledge this and to get on this. Also, apparently there's like a lot of books. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.5. There's 8.5 books? How is there 8.5 books? I'm just not gonna ask questions. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So the next story on this list is one from the Rick Riordan Presents imprints, which will come as no surprise to you, but I actually don't think I've mentioned this but maybe one time on my channel before. But somebody told me that I should read it because they really loved it recently, and that story is Paula Santiago and the River of Tears by Taylor K. Mejia. On the Read Riordan website, all it says is, a 12-year-old girl overcomes evil with science and the power of love in this adventure fantasy based on the Mexican legend of La Llorona. So, I'm already in. I've actually heard a lot of good things about this story, so it's always been like in the back of my mind, like, yeah, I should probably get to this sometime soon, but I just haven't bought it or like gotten my hands on it, so now's my time. Now is my time to do that. The next book on this list is one that I think somebody recommended to me a while back and I added to my list, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. But this year will be the year. And that book is The Strangers by Margaret Peterson Haddix, but it also could be called Greystone's Secrets because that's what it says up front. I don't know. I think that's the series name actually, but we're just gonna say The Strangers for all intents and purposes. I think in my bookshelf tour video, I said that this book always like gave me sort of like Us vibes, that movie, you know, with like the clones and stuff, mostly because of that. And I think I read the synopsis once and it like, I don't know, reminded me of that. So I've always kind of shied away from it because I'm not a good horror person. I watched that movie when it was like daylight outside and it came on TV one day and I was just like, this is just not for me. So I was always kind of like, you know, hesitant to get into this, but somebody said it was really good and like, I trust you guys, so I'm here for this. Yeah, okay, it is similar to that. So there are these 3 kids who are in this house, they're a happy family, and then all of a sudden there's a report of 3 kidnapped children, but apparently they look exactly alike them. They share the same first and middle names, they're the same ages, and have identical birthdays, and then when they discover all of this, their mom just kind of like freaks out and takes off. So it's like, what the heck is going on? And then it looks like they find these clues that lead to like hidden rooms in this house and stuff. Like it kind of sounds like a weird like thriller-esque mystery middle grade story, which is not something that I typically reach for or think about when it comes to middle grades. So that's really intriguing to me. I'm really interested. I feel like this is one of those books that I would normally save for October, but then again, I tried doing that last year and look at where that got me. Nowhere. It got me nowhere, in case you weren't aware. So I might as well just read this as soon as possible. Okay, so the next story that I have on this list is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. I've seen this book around for a while and I've been wanting to get to it. Like it's another one of those books that's been in like the back of my mind for a very long time, and I actually have it saved on Hoopla from my library, but I just haven't read it yet. And now that I'm reading what it's about, it sounds really, really good. So I really want to get to it. Apparently there's this town called Protectorate, and every year they leave a baby as an offering to the witch who lives in the forest so that she doesn't come and attack them. But apparently the witch in the forest is really nice, and she takes the babies and she gives them to loving homes on the other side of the forest. But one year, the witch, Zan is her name, accidentally feeds the baby Moonlight instead of Starlight, which gives it extraordinary abilities, and she decides that she needs to raise this child instead of giving it away so that she can, I guess, help the kid when she gets her magic. So Luna's 13th birthday approaches and she's starting to come into her magic, and then of course there's a guy from Protectorate who's like, no, I'm gonna be all high and mighty and kill the witch because that's what you need to do. And then things happen. But it says at the end of the synopsis, it's an epic coming-of-age fairy tale destined to be a modern classic. So it sounds wonderful, and I am in for a good time. So next up I have Amal Unbound by Aisha Saeed, which I have been wanting to get to for a while. Again, all of these books, I swear, but I just haven't. And I've kept this book literally for the cover. Like, I do not want to give up this book because I love the cover so much. I don't know what that says about me, but I'm fine with it. The story's about a 12-year-old girl named Amal who really wants to be a teacher, but one day she accidentally insults a member of her Pakistani village's ruling family, and as punishment then has to go serve as a servant for that family. And then she has to work with the other servants to sort of win back her freedom and also her loved one's safety and protection. I've seen good things said about this story, which is again why I also kept it, but also mostly for the cover. And I've just again been wanting to get to it for a while and haven't, so we're gonna put it on this list, especially because it's a really short book. It's only like 230 pages, so I feel like I can get through this in less than a day. So maybe I'll save it for like a readathon or something where I can just get through it really quickly. I'm not sure, but I'm putting it on this list because it's finally time that I read this book after having it on my shelf for so long. So this next story I'm really excited about because it just sounds absolutely adorable. It's one of those stories that when I was searching through middle grade new releases and stuff like that, I stumbled upon it, and I just, the cover, like everything about it, the title, it just sounds so cute. So that story is Ava Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch by Julie Abe. Y'all, like, look at this cover. Look at how cute this is. I'm so here for this. So Ava Evergreen wants to become a novice witch by her 13th birthday, which is normally what you do otherwise if you don't, you end up losing your magic. The only problem is that Ava only has a pinch of magic. She's only a semi-magical witch. So she lands in this new town where the people are expecting this powerful witch, not just like a semi-powerful witch. So she ends up setting up this magical repair shop for semi-magical fixes that ends up helping the town in ways that they couldn't imagine. But then this like big magical storm decides to threaten them, and she has to like muster up her courage and as much power as she has to try to stop it. Again, the main reason that I'm adding this to my list is because it just looks absolutely adorable. I'm here for this cuteness, this good time, this young semi-magical witch finding her way and just accepting her power, and just I'm just so excited. Also, it did say that it was perfect for fans of Kiki's Delivery Service, which I know a lot of people love, the Studio Ghibli stuff. I've never gotten into it, but I've wanted to. I don't know if they said that because of the cover. They tried to like make it look like that, because that's the kind of vibes that I was getting from this cover, honestly. Getting kind of like Studio Ghibli vibes, but I mean, regardless, I'm here for this. And so the final story on this list of middle grade books I want to get to is one that I've had on my shelf for so freaking long and just haven't gotten to yet. And that book is Furthermore by Tahereh Mafi. I feel like this book, this series has just come and gone. Nobody talks about it anymore, but I still have it and I am still determined to finally read it. So what I know about this story is that there's this girl named Alice who loses her father, and so she has to trek into the world of Furthermore in order to find him and bring him back. Again, I've just had this for years. I feel like nobody talks about this series anymore, but I finally just want to get to it so I can put it on that shelf and be like, yes, I have finally read this story. So that's why it's on this list. I will get to this year if it kills me, along with every other book I've mentioned on this list and every other book I've mentioned on this channel that I want to get to this year. I've got a long list to live up to. So guys, those are all of the middle grade stories that I will be adding to my TBR this year and hoping that I will be able to get to them. Thank you for your recommendations in my last video. When I asked you guys, you really pulled through, and for all of your recommendations always. They never go unnoticed. I always just add them to a list that's ever growing, and eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to get to them. If there are any middle grade stories that you guys are really looking forward to getting to, or one that you've just been putting off for a very long time and haven't gotten to yet, definitely let me know in the comments down below. And thank you once again to Disney Book Group for sponsoring this video. Remember you guys, Brightly Woven, the graphic novel, is in stores now, so you can head to the description and the link that's down there in order to learn more and get your hands on a copy. And I think that's going to be everything for this video, so if you want to follow me on any of my socials, all my handles are in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you later. Bye!